So I want to go into a little bit more detail about identity. And I want to start off with thinking about the idea of what is real when it comes to identity. What is it about our identities that actually exists? To sort of characterize this for you, I want you to think about like the different sorts of identities that you put out towards the world. Like, do you have the same identity when you're in school, or when you're in church, when you're in the mall? And what is the difference between those? How do people perceive you? Essentially what it amounts to is that identity is, or at least what we call identity, is similar to like a mask, in that you can take it off and put it on depending on where you are and what you're doing. That's not to say that it's entirely like that, because there are certain aspects of it that are built into our personalities or into our backgrounds, but then there are also other aspects that we have a lot of control over. So what is it about the identity that's worth stealing? It's really pretty much a connection to money, but there are different aspects of the identity that open up the possibilities of creating value. And some of them have to do with reputation, and some of them have to do, obviously, with, like I said, with the connection to the bank account, but also just sort of other aspects in the way that our social networks are created. So in thinking about like who and what we are, there are several aspects that I want to consider in particular. These relate very specifically to ideas of biometrics. And these are the measurements of physiological or behavioral aspects of a person, and the sort of quantification of them. Now, physiologically, we're talking about like the fingerprint, the face, the facial structure, the structure of the DNA, the way that the palm is put together, the lines in the palm, as well as the iris, and other sorts of things are related to the physical geometry of the body. Behaviorally, we're talking about patterns of speech. We're talking about like rhythms, the way that a person walks, the words that they use because of the way that they were brought up. And strictly speaking, the person does not have complete control over these, but there's a great deal of sort of fabricated or constructed, there's a constructed quality to much of the things that relate to the biometrics. Like, it is possible to wear glasses to attempt to sort of fool facial recognition software. And so I want to start off by talking about an author or an artist by the name of Ethan Hamm. And he created a work that basically starts off by scanning his face and creating the relationships that, or sort of mirroring the relationships that exist in his face. And then he goes out into Flickr and scans through hundreds of thousands of images, looking then again for additional copies of, or like for him, across the space. Now, what's very interesting about this is that this has both a very sort of a personal sort of quality, in that he's like doing this sort of soul searching out across the millions of people on the internet, but it has this very, very personal sort of aspect to it, and that it relates also very specifically to his identity. But it also has this sort of very broad, like, you know, we're all the same, or we're all very similar. And you can see in this video of the faces that he found, or rather that the software found, that match his, that there is some essential similarity when you're looking across them, but it's not one of those things that, that you or I would look at somebody and mistake them for him. Many of the people that come up in this, that the software recognizes as being good matches for him, don't look anything like him. It's not the sort of confusion that a person would make, but it's the sort of thing that a computer might mistake. And this is very interesting, because this is one of the issues that relates very specifically to the use of biometrics, particularly in conjunction with the surveillance systems that are set up. computers don't recognize things. They don't have the same sort of pattern recognition ability that the human mind does. And identity is all about the sort of uniqueness with respect to individual patterns.